Sophia Loren has turned 90, but you won't believe your eyes when you see her today. A true icon of beauty and talent. Sophia Loren continues to captivate the world with her ageless charm. Join us as we explore some of her most special moments in this video, and don't forget to share your thoughts with us. If you're amazed by her beauty, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0, so we know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any exciting videos. Let's dive into the fascinating life of Sophia Loren right now. Sophia Loren was born on an unforgettable day when the heartbreaking sobs of her mother mingled with the cold sound of the hospital door slamming shut behind them. However, there was no time for the sweet moments of childhood. Instead, her life began with a brutal fight for survival. Born in a maternity ward for single mothers in Rome in 1934, Sophia Loren was the result of a love kept secret from a man who never acknowledged her, never willing to recognize even the smallest part of her identity. Sophia's mother, Romilda Villani, was once a beautiful woman with dreams of reaching Hollywood's spotlight, possessing a beauty that could remind people of Greta Garbo. However, her dream collided with a harsh reality when she became involved with Riccardo Ciccolone, a charming man who had no intention of committing. When Romilda became pregnant, Ciccolone quickly vanished, leaving her to raise Sophia alone in silence and pain. Sophia's early years were filled with shame, poverty, and a constant sense of insecurity. She grew up in Pozzuoli near Naples, in a dilapidated house with a large, impoverished family. Many nights, 10 people would cram into a small room, the heavy breath of anxiety filling the air. Her mother, in order to make ends meet, often played piano at local bars, earning just a few spare lire. There were weeks when Romilda, Sophia's mother, could only give her children a potato or some rice kindly donated by neighbors. One day, in an indescribable desperation, Romilda had to take water from the car radiator to keep Sophia and her sister Maria from dying of thirst. It wasn't just despair. It was the lingering pain of a mother in a world that had shut all doors on them, leaving no hope behind. Then came the war. The devastating bombing raids of World War II tore through the skies above Naples. Sirens wailed, children cried out in chaos. Sophia remembered the moment she picked up a piece of chocolate dropped by an American soldier, and it was a priceless treasure in her eyes, for she had never tasted anything so sweet. The moment passed quickly, and reality returned with blood and pain. An explosion had sent shrapnel flying across the streets, and a piece of shrapnel had torn through her face, leaving a deep scar across her chin, a wound no child should have to endure. Sophia learned to cover it up with makeup, but the pain and shame never left her mind. Her friends teased her for her thin body, calling her toothpick, little stick, and worse, ugly girl. Even her nanny once whispered that she was the ugliest child she had ever known. There are wounds that fame and glory cannot cover up, such as the unspoken cruelty of childhood. But even so, Sophia always had a resilient strength that refused to be defeated. By the time she was 14, her body had begun to change, her feminine curves blossoming and her eyes piercing. The ugly duckling of the past was no longer the image of a child defeated by war, but a symbol of a strong vitality rising from the ashes. When she walked down the street, men's eyes fell on her and modeling agencies began to take notice. Her beauty had finally caught up with her heartbroken soul, but it would take many more years for the world to truly understand the full story of her life. Behind the glamour, behind the grace, there was always a little girl hungry, forgotten, and scarred. But for a girl who had known only hunger, shame, and silence, the promise of beauty was never just vanity. It was the last card to survive. And when the last chance knocked, it came in the face of another man, she would learn to love and suffer for Carlo Ponti. Sophia Loren's transformation at 14 was not a flashy movie. It was a quiet rebellion. The skinny, taunted child nicknamed Toothpick blossomed into a curvaceous young woman. And suddenly, the world that had turned its back on her began to stare. Yet the cruelty never went away. The whispers that she was illegitimate haunted her like a ghost. She entered beauty pageants not out of vanity, but out of desperation, wearing a dress made from pink curtains because it was all her grandmother could afford. When she stepped onto that stage, she wanted more than a crown. She wanted an escape. It was there that she caught the eye of Carlo Ponti, a famous film producer nearly twice her age with a wife and children. He was smitten. She was 16. Their meeting would set the stage for one of the most complicated, scandalous, and ultimately enduring love stories in film history, a tragedy she would carry with her for a lifetime. For Ponti, she was a revelation, a soul both raw and radiant. For Loren, he was the first man to look past her shyness and see her potential. He helped shape her identity, starting with the name Sophia Loren, inspired by the Swedish actress Märta Thoren. Her early roles were uncredited background roles, but they were the beginning of a glittering career. But every frame was a step away from Pozzuoli, from hunger, from the haunting pain in her mother's eyes. Success, however, did not erase the pain. It repackaged it. Behind every camera flash was the weight of scrutiny. Every line she spoke on screen was compared to newspaper headlines questioning her relationship with a married man. Sophia did not just fight for roles, she fought for her dignity. The Italian public, steeped in strict Catholic values, found her relationship with Ponti scandalous. There were whispers, harsh judgments, and moral condemnations. Despite Ponti's dedication to guiding and building her career and facing the legal impossibility of divorcing his first wife, Loren, was caught between two worlds: her burgeoning career and the relentless criticism of her morality. Yet amidst all the chaos, she persevered. Her face began to appear on the covers of prestigious magazines. Her name appeared in the credits of movies alongside the industry giants. From Quo Vadis to Aida and La Favorita Sofia, Loren not only survived, but was actually becoming a rising star. But alongside her career, she always carried the weight of an unrequited love and a painful past. Even as she smiles in the glare of the media spotlight, part of her remains, the little girl in the curtain dress, hungry and judged. The world sees the glamour, but Sophia knows that her success is built not on dreams, but on deep scars. "I just want to be loved, not judged." She once said, a silent plea that took her from Pozzuoli to the pinnacle of international fame. Her career was soaring, her beauty undeniable, but her soul was still bruised by years of rejection and scandal. Each role she played was a wound she carried with her. When Sophia stepped onto the sets of Italy and then Hollywood, it was not just her alluring figure and fiery eyes that hid the depths of pain and quiet perseverance beneath her glamorous exterior. After years of being teased as the ugly duckling and looked down upon as an illegitimate child in the war-torn streets of Naples, she pulled herself up by a mixture of determination and desperation. Her first film roles in projects like Quo Vadis were brief cameos where her name didn't even appear in the credits. But the camera couldn't ignore her. If you knew Sophia Loren before this video, leave a 2. And if this is your first time hearing about this beauty icon, leave a 3. What do you think of her appearance at 90? Impressive, right? Like the video if you think Sophia Loren is still as attractive as ever, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next interesting videos. By 1953, her starring performance in Aida began to capture the attention of the Italian public, proving that she was not just a pretty face, but also an artist with the emotional depth of a seasoned veteran. And it was with Vittorio De Sica's 1954 film, The Gold of Naples, that Sophia Loren burst onto the national film scene playing characters that were raw, complex, and deeply human, marking the beginning of a glorious and challenging journey ahead. Sophia Loren's fame grew rapidly and impressively, and it wasn't long before Hollywood opened its doors to her. In 1956, Paramount Pictures signed her to a 5-film contract, marking a major turning point in her career. This was not only an opportunity for Loren to showcase her talent, but also a rare milestone for an Italian actress to conquer the fiercely competitive American film market. Loren's Hollywood debut quickly attracted attention when she acted alongside famous names such as Carrie Grant in Houseboat and Anthony Perkins in Desire Under the Elms. Not only known for her captivating beauty, she also affirmed her deep and emotional acting ability, making people realize that she is not only a pretty face, but also a true talent of world cinema. However, Loren's real breakthrough moment came in 1960 with her role in the film Two Women. Initially cast as the daughter Loren, with her strong determination, won the role of the mother Cicera, a resilient woman fighting for survival in the brutal conditions of war. The role not only required deep immersion, but also allowed Loren to express the full depth of her artistic and inner self. Her performance as Cicera was described as hauntingly authentic, not simply acting, but a vivid reminder of pain and loss. In a rare interview Loren shared, "When I play Cicera, I'm not acting, I'm remembering." The film won her an Oscar for Best Actress, the first time the award had been given for a non-English speaking role, and catapulted her to international fame. Despite her immense success, Loren faced many challenges when she entered Hollywood. She had to endure gossip and harsh judgment about her personal life, especially her complicated relationship with Carlo Ponti. Living between two different cultures made her experience loneliness and pressure, turning Hollywood into a new and fierce battlefield where she had to use all her strength to stand firm and maintain her reputation. Yet Loren continued to shine brightly thanks to her passion and relentless determination. She once said, "Acting is the only place where I can scream without making a sound bleed without bleeding." From action films like The Pride and the Passion to comedies like Heller in Pink Tights, she always brought dignity and vitality to female characters who were often seen as decorative. During the 1960s, Loren was not only an actress, but also an icon of Italian cinema, with famous films like Marriage Italian Style and Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow brilliantly portraying a wide range of emotions from comedy to tragedy. Sophia Loren has been awarded the David Di Donatello Award, the most prestigious award in Italian cinema, many times. This not only affirms her popularity, but also shows deep respect for her talent and contributions. However, behind the halo, pain is always close to her heart. Fame can never erase the deep memories from her childhood. Loren once said, "No matter how far I go, I will always carry the silence of the hungry girl in my eyes." The girl who was once ridiculed for being too skinny, too dark, too poor, now stands before the spotlight and millions of admiring eyes. But Sophia Loren has never forgotten the past, and perhaps that is what makes her special strength. She not only plays a role, but also completely transforms into each character. Through that, she brings to the world a vivid image of resilience, like a deep healing for the souls that have been hurt. Sophia Loren's legacy was not built on glamorous red carpets or designer gowns, but on her scars and the unwavering fire within her. This is not the story of a beautiful woman who sought fame, but the journey of a wounded soul who learned to turn her pain into strength and illuminate the world with her own light. Not all of Loren's wounds stem from her troubled childhood. Some come from her complicated and painful love experiences with a man she could neither fully acknowledge nor let go of, both a salvation and a constant pain in her life. At 16, Loren met Carlo Ponti, a famous film producer 21 years her senior, married with 2 children. Their bond was intense and undeniable. Sophia has said that there was something about him, a tenderness, a strength that made her feel seen for the first time in her life. Yet that love was born in a society of constraints where divorce was considered a sin and illegal. Carlo Ponti's legal wife refused to grant him divorce, turning their affair into a testy and highly critical relationship. That silent refusal became a curse that shrouded Loren and Ponti in years of contempt, secrecy, and pain. They faced the world in silence amid constant suspicion and judgment. In 1957, desperate to hold on to what they had, Carlo Ponti and Sophia Loren secretly married in Mexico. However, the marriage was quickly condemned by Italian law. Ponti was accused of polygamy, and Sophia, then in her early 20s, was branded a home wrecker, a slut, and a symbol of social disgrace. The community's relentless judgment never ceased causing them to endure hardship and slander. Faced with overwhelming pressure from their homeland, they fled to France, seeking refuge, a land where their love would not be punished with imprisonment or condemnation. After nearly a decade of battling legal hurdles and moral scruples, the couple were finally able to legally marry in 1966 after Ponti received French citizenship. But the price they paid for their freedom was high. Their careers were disrupted, their homeland turned its back on them, and for Loren, the desire to have a complete family remained a wound that never healed. Sophia's miscarriages were not merely medical events, but also deep, soul-crushing traumas. "Every time I lost a child, a part of me was gone," she would say in later years. Still, Loren refused to give up hope, clinging to her dream of motherhood. That hope was eventually rewarded when she gave birth to 2 sons, Carlo Jr. in 1968 and Eduardo in 1973. These children became her refuge, and the strength to carry on. But the love between Loren and Ponti was more than just a love affair. It was complex and emotional. Ponti was not only her husband, but also the man who shaped her career and public identity. He was her mentor, supporter, and sometimes controller, making their relationship a journey of ups and downs that spanned more than half a century. When Ponti died in 2007, Loren expressed deep grief, a loss few could understand. "When he died, a part of me died," she confided in silence. "I still talk to him every night," Loren said, as if that love still lingered in her every breath. It was not just the end of a marriage, but also the final chapter in a love story that spanned more than 50 years, a story that shaped Wounded and built the person and legend of Sophia Loren. Despite the awards, the rumors, and the triumphant comebacks, that love was always the silent heartbeat behind her immortal aura. There is no denying the influence and empire they built together, not for its flashiness but for its significance. At the time of Ponti's death, the fortune they amassed from film productions to art collections to real estate ventures was in the tens of millions of dollars. It was a powerful testament to their remarkable rise from poverty and a living legacy of love, perseverance, and undying talent. From a girl who drank water from a car radiator during her poverty-stricken days, to a woman who owned a luxurious villa filled with Renaissance masterpieces, Sophia Loren's financial status and fame were not inherited. Everything she had was the result of a long and arduous journey, a journey filled with relentless effort. The palatial villa located on Via Appia Antica, a historic street in Rome surrounded by 15,000 square meters of lush gardens, was not simply a residence, but a symbol of a life built from the ground up. Coming from war-torn and poverty-stricken days, Sophia's journey to building such lasting wealth and beauty was a Herculean feat, almost a Herculean task. The artworks hanging on the walls and the opulent marbles that adorned the rooms were not simply luxurious decorations, but monuments to a woman who transformed every wound into a resilient will and inner strength. In a world where fame is often equated with material wealth, Sophia Loren's legacy is living proof that the opposite is true, that true wealth is built on resilience and determination. She is remembered not only for her exquisite beauty and grace, but also for her perseverance in overcoming adversity to live an admirable life. Her story is not a journey of perfection, but a testament to the power of perseverance and willpower. And in each of her timeless eyes, one can sense the echoes of a woman who loved fiercely, suffered profound loss, and yet persevered through it all with unmatched dignity. Yet long before the sadness and silence that enveloped her magnificent Roman villa, there was another chapter of Sophia's life that remains etched in the hearts of those close to her. It was a chapter filled with what-ifs, tender, almost forgotten moments that woven into the complex story of her life. These didn't happen in isolation, but at a time when she was secretly falling in love with Carlo Ponti, when emotions, ambitions, and fears collided beneath the placid exterior of a rising star. While filming The Pride and the Passion in 1956, Sophia met and worked with Carrie Grant, a charming, elegant man who was a Hollywood icon at the time. Their on-screen partnership quickly developed into something more emotionally complex. Carrie Grant not only saw Loren as a co-star, but was so infatuated with her that he proposed marriage. Although Sophia felt the pull of his genuine affection, and later admitted that she had admired, perhaps even loved Carrie, her heart was torn between the security and sincerity he provided and her loyalty to another man, Carlo Ponti, whose social and private life was fraught with risk. The split in her soul creates an almost impossible choice between safety and honesty, between love and duty. In the end, she decides to reject Carrie Grant, a decision that is neither easy nor painless, but is driven more by a sense of duty and loyalty than by personal desire. It is a decision that clearly depicts a part of Sophia Loren's steadfast and strong nature, a woman who stands firm in the face of any challenge, whether emotional or physical. Years later, Sophia Loren admitted that some of her life decisions, while not always easy, haunted her gently but persistently. It was in those rare moments when this icon of beauty and strength opened up, sharing her private pain about what might have been. When Carlo Ponti learned of Carrie Grant's feelings for her, he was consumed by jealousy. During one violent confrontation with Sophia, his rage boiled over to the point of him slapping her, a painful moment that remained etched in Loren's mind for years. "I thought if a man was jealous, it meant he loved me," she once said, a way of understanding something more painful and complex than mere romance. The moment was more than possession or anger. It exposed the fragile threads of power, fear, and love, all tangled in a relationship of secrecy, suspicion, and judgment. Sophia chose to endure it all in silence, as she had endured so many of her life's trials. Beneath her calm and charming exterior, the pain lay deep within her, choices shaped not only by personal desire, but also by the social constraints and strictures of the times. Not all of Sophia Loren's wounds, however, stemmed from love or loss. There were hidden pains behind closed doors, ones that the bright lights of Hollywood could not illuminate. As her fame soared in the late 1950s and 1960s, she became an international icon. But she also had to deal with the dark side of fame, the silent wounds, the mental abuse, and the emotional toll of being admired, but not always respected. Among the most difficult experiences was her time working with the British comedian Peter Sellers on the 1960 film The Millionaires. Sellers, talented but unstable, became so obsessed with Sophia that his infatuation led him to abandon his wife and children, believing that he could possess her through passion alone. But Sophia, with determination and integrity, rejected him decisively. Her rejection was not cruelty, but a necessary act to preserve herself in a world in which she struggled to preserve herself. Yet those painful memories continued to haunt Sophia Loren, for behind her silent denial was a broken family and a man in turmoil. She once admitted that although it was not her fault, she still felt a deep sadness about what had happened. This is a burden that many women are unfairly burdened with, guilt over the self-destruction of a man they loved. That sadness did not go away easily following her every step of her life. In 1967, while filming A Countess from Hong Kong with Marlon Brando, Sophia faced a far more horrifying experience, an unimaginable breach of trust. In a scene designed to show passion, Brando grabbed her, forced a kiss, and bit her lips so hard that it bled, an act that was unscripted and unconstrained. Sophia recoiled, stunned and humiliated, but she made no scene. Instead, she stood tall, her chin proud, her eyes steady, and simply said, "Don't you ever do that to me again." That simple statement resonated more powerfully than any outburst, demonstrating defiance without drama, strength without show. Sophia later recalled that moment as one of the most disrespected times of her career, but also the place where she discovered the full power of her determination and dignity. Hollywood has always been a double-edged sword for women like her, celebrated for their dazzling beauty, but also saddled with the high price of fame. Yet Sophia has never succumbed to bitterness or injustice. In later interviews, when asked about those injuries and violations, she doesn't dwell on the pain, but instead talks about her dignity, how to protect it, and how to live with it, even when others try to take it away. "I learned to say no with my eyes even when I was scared," she once said. Sophia Loren's immortal on-screen eyes have seen so much. There is the adoration, but also the quiet cruelty that fame sometimes brings. Through it all, Sophia has remained true to herself, facing her unspoken traumas with grace, resilience, and grace, a strength that doesn't need to scream to be heard. She has become a symbol not just of beauty, but of resilience and quiet courage. just when the worst storm seemed to have passed life, reminded Sophia that grief is not always private. Sometimes it appears in the pages of newspapers in painful public stories. In 1982, at the height of her career and respect, Sophia Loren found herself incarcerated not for a serious crime, but for an administrative error involving failure to file taxes on time, a black mark on her otherwise stellar history, another trial she faced with calm and dignity. An Italian court sentenced her to 30 days in prison, of which she served 17 in a Naples jail. To the public, it was a scandal. To Sophia, it was an insult. Those 17 days felt like 17 years, she later confessed. The world had seen her as an untouchable icon of elegance. Yet here she was, stripped of all her glamour, forced to sleep on a prison bed, share a cell, and endure the stares of the same guards who had admired her on screen. Though she remained composed throughout the ordeal, left a mark. It wasn't just the physical confinement. It was the sting of being accused of disrespect. Her lawyer later claimed that it was an administrative error, and the case was eventually resolved in her favor. However, the damage to her reputation and her spirit could not be easily repaired. Sophia once said it was not the time in prison that was the most painful thing. It was the shame of being treated as a criminal when I had spent my whole life trying to live with dignity. The word sounded like a heavy sigh, encapsulating all the pain she had suffered in the injustice of life. Sophia was not alone in her husband Carlo Ponti's own legal battles. Allegations surrounding his vast art collection and financial dealings put him at the center of scrutiny from both the Italian and French authorities. The media was relentless in their attacks, portraying the couple as a dynasty on the brink of collapse. But Sophia was never beaten down by public opinion. When she was released from prison, she did not walk out in hiding or in shame, but in a white suit, her head held high, her composure unshaken. The image became a powerful lesson in resilience. A woman who knew that the cameras and the public would gloat over her failures, yet she chose to face them head-on. For many, that image of Sophia, resilient, proud, and incredibly graceful, was more powerful than any film role she had ever played. Her strength was not an artistic performance, but a truth forged over decades of hardship and trial. In a thoughtful reflection, Sophia once remarked, "You are not just the roles you play. You are the challenges you overcome." The world may always see her as a movie goddess, but it was in her lowest, loneliest moments, in a prison cell with no script and no spotlight, that she proved herself to be a woman of unshakable grace under any adversity. They say legends never die, and for Sophia Loren, that truth lives on. Now, in her 90s, Sophia lives mostly in Geneva, Switzerland, a place far from the spotlight, a place to reflect, heal, and find peace. It's fitting for a woman who spent her life enduring the noise and fanfare of celebrity. Though she sold her iconic Roman Villa Sara in 2007, her spirit lives on in the homes she lovingly decorated, filled with art, photographs, and memories that only she can fully understand. Her former sprawling California summer home, described by her son as a small village, was a testament to an undeniably lavish lifestyle. But Sophia now opts for simplicity and serenity over splendor. A slower, more sedate existence befitting a soul that has experienced many ups and downs and knows how to appreciate every quiet moment. Her life, from the days of poverty to the heights of fame, is now a symphony of perseverance, love, and courage that never fades. Sophia Loren's financial legacy is no less impressive. With an estimated net worth of $75 million to $150 million, she has amassed a fortune through decades of film work, lucrative endorsement deals, and smart investments. Her current primary residence in Geneva, Switzerland, is a prized possession that symbolizes success and stability. Meanwhile, her previous homes, including Villa Sara in Italy and La Concordia in California, which sold for nearly $7 million, reflect a life of both success and aesthetic sophistication. Sophia's wealth extends far beyond real estate, bolstered by a world-class art collection and valuable jewelry, some of which were stolen in burglaries and worth millions of dollars. The sale of a Francis Bacon painting alone in 2007 brought in $16.5 million, demonstrating the size and quality of her personal collection. This demonstrates not only Sophia's deep knowledge, but also her passion and investment in art. In 2023, Sophia suffered a serious fall that broke her hip and femur, an accident that would have ended the lives of many others her age. But not Sophia Loren. With the resilience and determination that had seen her through war, poverty, and public scandal, she embraced rehabilitation with determination, attending physical therapy sessions up to 5 times a week. Along the way, she maintained a balanced and moderate Mediterranean diet, favoring fresh pasta, refreshing salads, and light dinners. Her discipline, even in her later years, remained unwavering. "Everything you see in me I owe to pasta," she once joked. But beneath her graceful exterior was a lifetime of choices guided by dignity and determination. No stranger to retirement, Sophia remains a living symbol of timeless vitality and energy. In 2020, at the age of 86, she returned to the big screen as the lead in the Netflix hit The Life Ahead, directed by her son Edoardo Ponti. It was not just a return, but a rebirth. Critics have hailed her performance as hauntingly beautiful and authentic proof that true art only deepens with time and age. She then went on to become the face of Dolce & Gabbana's Dolce Rosa Excelsa fragrance, a fashion and branding signature that cemented her iconic status. She also expanded her influence into the culinary world, with her eponymous restaurant brand opening its first location in Hong Kong. Additionally, Sophia appeared in the moving Netflix documentary, What Would Sophia Loren Do?, a tribute to her enduring influence on the world and in the hearts of her fans. But now it's not the projects or the fame that define her. It's the legacy she leaves behind. On her 90th birthday, decked out in a gorgeous Giorgio Armani gown and sparkling diamonds, Sophia Loren radiates not as a celebrity, but with a radiant peace that shines from deep within. "There is a fountain of youth," she once said. "It's your mind, your talent, the creativity you bring to your life." That belief has guided her every step and continues to light her path. To the world, Sophia Loren is a cinematic goddess, a timeless symbol of beauty and talent. But to those who look more closely, she is also a living lesson in resilience, transformation, and quiet triumph over adversity. Her life is an exquisite symphony of grace, heartbreak, courage, and constant reinvention. A symphony that continues to inspire not only through what she did, but also through the woman she became, an immortal symbol of strength and perseverance. In a world where beauty fades and fame is extinguished, Sophia Loren remains a beacon of light. She is a living testament to grace, tempered by hardship, a symbol of strength, born of pain and trial. Her journey from the ashes of wartime Naples to the pinnacle of Hollywood royalty is more than a silver screen success story. It is a masterful blueprint of resilience, dignity, and triumph over adversity. Sophia Loren is not only a film legend, but also a voice for every woman who has ever been doubted, ignored, or hurt. She rose up brighter than anyone ever thought possible. Loren once said, "Nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that she is beautiful." And her life has proven that belief through every pain, every victory, and every scar that has been transformed into a shining star in the sky of life. It's hard to believe that Sophia Loren is 90 years old and still retains the charisma and beauty that the whole world admires. A living legend, a timeless icon. If you are also moved and impressed like me, please leave a comment to share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying me in other inspiring stories. See you in the next video.